Today, we are driving a 2025 Toyota GR Corolla. This has been a bucket list car of mine for many years. Ever since it came out, I've been oogly eyes over these. This has a 1.6 liter inline 3-cylinder engine producing 300 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Peak horsepower is made at a staggering 6,500 RPM. It has about a 7,000 RPM redline, so it's a very peaky motor. Although the owner, Sean, tells me that it makes a lot of torque throughout. So Sean, give us a brief rundown of this GR Corolla.
Basically, the only car on the market right now that's in this class of like street rally cars.
Right, so the Evo and the STI, they're gone. So this
gone.
is it.
What else do you need to know? It's got 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, different settings for the power split.
It's got a 6-speed manual, and it's a hot hatch, so.
Right, it's a spicy hot hatch at that.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and get this out on the road. We're currently at the Tail of the Dragon out here in North Carolina. We're gonna hit some twisty roads and we're gonna review this car and talk about why I think the GR Corolla might be a future daily of mine and why they're just awesome. All right, guys, some initial impressions here. My first impression of this is how easy this car is to drive. Taking it off from the line, shifting. If you're a native manual driver, this car just makes sense, and that's pretty nice. It's not low that bad. Oh yeah, no, you over 1,000. You got to stay over 1,000 RPM. All right. Oh my God. Okay, this is gonna sound stupid, but it sounds like an old V12.
Really?
Yes, which is an extension of sounding an inline 6, but I think this sounds smoother than an inline 6 for some reason, which I know it's not, obviously. It's definitely not as smooth, but it sounds smooth.
Wide open throttle and get more towards red line, you'll feel it smooth out, and you can just tell the engine wants to be near red line.
Yes, I can already tell. Okay, rev hang isn't too bad. I like the clutch pedal. Gas pedal is actually better than most electronic throttles, I feel, so that's good. Shifter feels great. Brake pedal, very touchy, like you said. I felt the boost lag there because I took a second to shift. So I can imagine that's probably why people want to just slam the gears, because they want to keep it in the boost.
If you take your time and you do a perfect slipping of the clutch,
yeah,
you don't lose boost.
You don't lose boost, yeah.
And it's really satisfying when you nail it.
I'm sure it is. Now, we're still on the learning curve here a little bit, but we'll get it.
It took me a few weeks to not lose boost every shift, so no hard feelings.
Ooh, I like those brakes. They're potent.
I think the brake feel is tuned perfectly in this car, in my opinion.
Wow. So a lot of modern cars have the problem of having a brake pedal that's too assisted. The Mark 7 GTI I have a gripe with in this regard. The brake pedal is very touchy, and it's like as soon as you're on the brake, it's like, ugh. This has a little bit of that too, but it's way better than most cars. And the pedal feels linear. More pedal, more brake. Less pedal, less brake. I love it. I love everything is right in this car.
All the inputs they tuned is so well in this car.
Look at how beautiful this is. Oh my God.
Stunning.
Everything is right in this car. Oh, you just feel the surge from the all-wheel drive. It just reaches and it pulls you forward. You know, most cars like that, I would have done a 3.2 and went forward. This, you just keep third, is let the torque ride. It is a peaky motor, like you said, but it's also a very torquey motor. You don't feel the need to always downshift. If you can keep it at or above if you keep it above 3,000, just keep going. It's got a great mid-range, which is not what you would expect from a small displacement, low cylinder engine. This is awesome. This is the most fun I had a car in a while.
Really?
Yes.
I'm glad.
Holy smokes. This is incredible. Wow, wow, wow. I like this more than the Type R. The Type R, I think, is faster as far as a track car.
100%.
It's razor sharp. This is perfect for a daily. And we live in, this is not Michigan, but we live in Michigan. When winter comes out, the Type R kind of sucks to drive. This, I imagine, blasts the snow.
Oh, yeah. It's as good as you think.
Oh my God. I have the largest grin on my face right now. Not that hard to downshift either.
Yeah, we'll say first gear gets rejected a lot in this car, but other than that, it's pretty easy.
Steering weight feels great. The gearing is exactly where I'd want it to be. It's close ratio gears, but it's not like some older Hondas where I feel like I'm just constantly rowing the boat. This is perfect. Well, at the start of the video, which wasn't that long ago, I said that this might be an expensive test drive. This might be a future daily for me. I'm sold. I want one. I can't afford to buy a car like this right now, but when I'm there, this is the closest I've gotten as far as feel to a modern equivalent of my E36, which I adore that car as far as driver's feedback and feel. This, hello officer, this just feels great.
Oh, that is high praise coming from you.
Yeah, now I don't say that lightly because I love the E36 chassis. This is just perfect. It's, I mean, obviously it doesn't feel like the E36 because this is all-wheel drive, that's rear, but like, it's so good. It's tossable, it's got the right amount of power, it's right like Goldilocks at about 300 horse. Not that heavy. You said this is like just over like 3,100, like 3,000 pounds?
I think it's 32, somewhere around
okay.
there. I don't know the exact number.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
When all cars have no feel anymore and they're all just driving computers, cars like this will be, in my opinion, will be remembered as the last breath of fun enthusiast cars. This is the last breath of the 90s and the 2000s. It's the swan song of old enthusiast cars that have feel, that have character, and that really make you feel like a superhero in the driver's seat. I love it. I love this thing. Oh man, I will never get over those brakes.
That's my favorite part about the car is the brake feel.
They're so good. They're so good. Alright, so you were telling me tap the limiter and you get to hear the rev limit noise.
Yes.
What gear do you usually tap it in? Like second?
Second, yeah. Okay. You go to 60 in second gear.
Alright.
If you do it in third, you're going to be going like
yeah, we're going
90s.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Even on this elevation change, it just eats it up.
Yep. You got clearance. No worries.
So much thrust from the turbo.
Yep.
Alright, we'll slow down, we'll try the rev limiter. Downshifts feel nice. Still getting the shifting rhythm so it doesn't lose boost, but it feels so good, guys. It feels so good. Yeah, I think I'm in love with this car. So, okay, now we have to be a little critical. This is a car review after all. I can't be biased here, guys. Just because this is the kind of car that I like, just because it's the kind of car that I like. We can't only talk about the good stuff. So there were two small gripes that we were talking about off camera, and that's really the interior. And it's not necessarily the build quality, because the build quality feels good. It's just that the materials are a little cheaper. And that's a small gripe. What you're paying for in this car is the driveline. This is like, kind of like the Neon SRT4. That's how that was. Now that was way worse than this as far as interior quality, but you're paying for the driveline, the all-wheel drive. You don't get a car with this much performance for this money. So you're going to sacrifice a few things. That's the interior. So I don't know if it's actually a gripe. It's just maybe more so an observation. Okay, now remind me what your 2 gripes were.
Yeah, so the main one is the pedal spacing isn't really conducive to heel toe whatsoever. The fix for it's pretty cheap. It's just like a little pedal spacer.
Yep.
And it's really easy to install too, so it's not a big deal. The other one, which is a bigger deal, is when you're taking a sharper left turn, the A-pillar will block a decent bit of your view.
Yep, I can totally see that. It's like right there and right on the way.
So you kind of have to like lean around it sometimes, but other than that, I really don't have complaints.
God, the more you push, it's just like the more the car has to give. The car is so much more in it. I'm not going to, because as tempting as it is, we're going to be responsible, but it just encourages you to keep eating, and I love it. Something Sean was telling me is that because of the all-wheel drive of this car, the car rotates nicely how you'd want it to. Unlike front-wheel drive cars. Front-wheel drive cars, and even a lot of all-wheel drive cars, have a tendency to be very front-end plowy because there's more weight on the front end. But this, because it has a large split to the rear, and we're in the custom mode right now, correct?
Yes, but the custom mode doesn't change the all-wheel drive split at all. That's just completely separate from the drive.
Oh, okay. My bad.
That's its own thing down here.
Or that's what I was talking about,
Yes.
right? Or it's
So
sorry, it's like the
track.
Toyota custom.
Yeah, it's this one right here.
Okay, track.
Yep.
Yeah, so this will go up to
70 degrees.
Up to 70% rear, right? And the computer does it for you. The computer knows what's best. You can also do 40-60 front to rear and 50-50 all around. So you get those options, but this one kind of it's like almost like automatic, yeah. Call it like auto mode.
Yeah, you can feel it doing work. There's actually
yeah.
if you scroll through the gauge clusters,
yeah,
I have set to the all-wheel drive.
How do I scroll through them?
This one right here.
Okay, I had the wrong one.
So that's the all-wheel drive split. I wouldn't recommend staring at it on the tail.
No. We're not gonna stare at it, but I'll be able to look at it in post later. Oh, that's cool. I was staring at it.
I caught myself staring at it a lot, and that's why it's not the main screen.
We have not tried 6 gear yet, so let's just see. Okay, it's a little high for 6 gear, but honestly, for a small displacement, small cylinder count engine, this is what I would expect for. Oh wow, that's beautiful. That's what I would expect for this. You kind of need the revs to keep it going at speed. You know, it's not like a big straight 6 or V8 where you just kind of have it hang out at like 2,000, which is fine. What's fuel economy on this look like?
I averaged 35 on the way here.
Oh wow, we were going exactly the speed limit.
Yeah.
On the way here. Yeah, exactly the speed
Basically,
limit. Yeah, basically exactly the speed limit. There's a theoretical scenario where we were going 80 to 90 for a lot of it. But we actually went the speed limit. And he got 35.
Yep. In the city, if you're staying at a boost, you can get like 22.
It does. Yeah, so at the start of the video, I said this kind of almost sounds V12-esque. Once you get it higher in the revs, it doesn't. But down low, it still has kind of like that rumble that a V12 has, which is really strange.
Yeah, it sounds like 2 engines at low and high revs.
Yes, I agree. I did tap the limiter there in second. I see what you mean. It sneaks up on you. The booster just keeps building. I could definitely feel it. It makes peak power at 6,500. Guys, I have the biggest smile on my face right now. This thing is just incredible. We have concluded our test drive of the 2025 Toyota GR Corolla. This was a transformative test drive for me. I think this is one of the last bastions of driver's feedback and general road feel in cars. Most new cars are super numb, and they do the best they can, but there's only so much you can do when your car weighs 4,000 pounds and makes 450 horsepower. This still has the liveliness and character that we loved about old cars that had feel, and cars that felt like they had emotion to them and character. And I love that. Between first and second gear shift, there's like a funny clunk. When you're taking the car all out, you get a lot of good road feel in your seat, and you can really tell where the car is in the road and place it. And it just feels so incredible. It makes you feel like a superhero in the driver's seat. Thank you, Sean,
Of course.
for coming onto the channel. This was an incredible experience. So, on that high note, let's go ahead and give the Toyota GR Corolla a score.
The GR Corolla scores here on our list. On par with a lot of the 90s and 2000s greats we all know and love, which I find fitting for this car. It scores a little below the new Civic Type R. Should you buy it? The GR Corolla is an amazing car to drive. It has all of the underlying character that we loved about the golden era 2000 sports cars. It's playful when you want it to be, but civilized enough when needed, without removing you from the road completely. In this 2020s resurgence of enthusiast cars, we've seen some greats, and a lot of what I suspect will be finales. Last manual transmission M car, last big American muscle car as we knew them, and the last Goldilocks sports car. An imperfectly perfect car for the driving enthusiast. Full of intangibles that make it go from just a great car to drive to a car that you never want to hop out of. The GR Corolla breaks the status quo for what new cars are supposed to feel like. No stupid rev hang, no nannies that can't be turned off, and no gimmicks that do not directly make the experience better for the end user. The only real downsides are interior materials and price. But looking like that and with this much performance, would you really expect any different?